Hello everyone, welcome to Another Day in the Car. I'm Jules, and I spent the better part of the day reading the Arrest Affidavit for Barry Morphew, and I'm just going to give you, in a nutshell, type version of my impressions, especially, comparing the affidavit to what I experienced in the courtroom for the whole of the preliminary. They open it by mentioning that Suzanne took clear steps in January of 2020 to separate from and divorce Barry, that on April 30th, 2021, that was the last date that Suzanne used any kind of credit cards or anything like that, but that's out of their joint accounts because it turns out that here in the affidavit, it never mentions Suzanne's private accounts. And then, looking at the picture of the bicycle as it was found, the bicycle is not anywhere near as far down the hill as I had originally thought, and I would still say it looks like it was probably placed there. That Miles boy who had been over at the house talking to them about the bicycles and stuff like that and about Suzanne riding, he was the first one that they had go over and look at the bike site, and he was the first confirmation that the bicycle that was found was Suzanne's. And he told everyone that he's the one that introduced Suzanne to mountain biking, and that it was, in his words, about a month ago. And he said that she's got intermediate skill. Then we get to the main points of Mallory's statements to law enforcement. And she said that she talked to Suzanne on the night of May 9th, which, when you look at the affidavit and how they're saying that the last proof of life from Suzanne was around 2 o'clock in the 2 o'clock hour anyway, due to the photo to Jeff, that's kind of like saying that they don't believe what Mallory says about, or else it was text and she didn't speak. And she said that she had no concerns regarding her parents' relationship, that she sent her mom a Mother's Day text and didn't get a reply, and when she tried calling her mom, it went directly to voice. Macy stated she exchanged texts with her mom on May 9th, and she offered the information that her mom works out at a gym regularly and that she mountain bikes daily, and she also offered up that Barry mountain biked with Suzanne a couple of times. So that implies to me that there is more than one bike at the house and probably more than one helmet at the house. Since I was in the overflow at the time that they were talking about the helmets in the garage, I didn't get to see the footage, so I don't know what helmet was in the garage. In the first interview, Macy also denied any marital issues of her parents and said that they were very loving. But then in a May 11th interview, she said that her parents argue a lot. She said that they were not doing well and it was best if they separated. She said that both parents were in an unsafe place emotionally. Both parents have just not felt safe at some point. And she did say that she does not believe that her mother would leave her, but that if she did leave, she would contact Macy and Mallory. And she said that there were no plans for Mallory and her friend to stay at the Morphew's house after the trip. Next up of pertinence, as far as I'm concerned, is that at the location where the helmet was located on May 13th, they saw that there were tire impressions and a piece of cloth, and the cloth had some sort of stain on it. Now they say that it appears to be unrelated to Suzanne, which, Sheila Oliver said that Suzanne did not answer her Snapchat pictures that she sent her at 6:40 and 6:48 p.m. on May 9th. But if we believe Barry, the phones were off because they were doing stuff. Melinda, who's Suzanne's sister, said that Suzanne had been telling her about problems in the marriage for approximately 6 months, and Melinda told authorities that Suzanne's inheritance was $208,000 in 2013 from her mother and $217,000 in 2016 from her grandmother-in-law. She also told law enforcement that when she heard Suzanne went missing, she instantly thought that Barry had killed her. Then we get to Jeff Libler. We learned a lot more by actually getting to read the affidavit. And he says he's not proud about the way he acted and about that hookup with Suzanne back in the day. He said that Barry found out about that, and Jeff is a golfer, and he golfed almost every day, and Barry worked at the golf course. Barry jumped off the tractor, ready to beat Jeff down, but Jeff managed to talk him out of it by reminding Barry that he was going to lose his job and he would lose everything. That was the last time they encountered each other. And he says that he did not go to Colorado to see Suzanne because of the surveillance that Suzanne told him that Barry had spy cameras up. He said that Suzanne told him that she and Barry argued a lot and it was bad for her mentally. And he said that he asked her if Barry would hurt her physically, and she said that he never would cross that line. He's learned. And he also said that Suzanne told him that after Macy went to college, she would probably go on her own, and that he wouldn't hear from her for a while. And he's saying that it didn't have anything to do with him. This was about her. I also got to see that last photo that she sent to Jeff, and she looks radiant. She looks very happy. It just like tears me up to see that picture and realize how happy and full of life she seemed to be at the time. Suzanne did beat the non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, but it came back in the fall of 2019, and she was getting her treatments at the cancer center in Salida. We also know Barry declined the polygraph. He has not elaborated why, just that he thought he probably wouldn't pass one, but he didn't say why he thought he wouldn't pass it. CBD Tim is not the name that Barry gave the guy. Barry said he's Tim in Westcliff and gave them the number and said that's where they got THC and CBD edibles. He is married. He and his wife are partners in their business, and they said that they sold 4 orders of hemp oil to Barry and Suzanne from October of 2018 to April of 2020. They said that they dealt directly with Barry the summer of 2019 when Barry called them and said that Suzanne's lymphoma was back and she needed more oil. And they said that they never had any indication that Barry was against Suzanne using CBD, THC to deal with her cancer at all. Canines, 3 of them, alerted to dirt and gravel on Barry's trailer and the Bobcat, and one of them tried to lay in the driver's seat of the Bobcat, but when they investigated, they came up with no evidence. And I know that these cadaver dogs will alert on pig as well as human remains, and also we don't know where that dirt came from. Now we'll get over and talk about the DNA. This was interesting to me, and of course the affidavit doesn't mention anything about the SA DNA. It just mentions it being unknown. The DNA on the bike seat was Suzanne, Barry, a police officer, and an unknown. The bike grips were Suzanne, police officer, and 2 unknowns, with Barry excluded. The bike brakes and handlebars were Suzanne, 2 police officers, and unknown, with also Barry excluded. The driver's door of Suzanne's car had Barry and Suzanne on it, and their kids were excluded. And then that hypodermic needle cap from the dryer, it says it was Suzanne and redacted, so that would be one of the kids, and Barry excluded. The dart needle from the box of darts in the safe, Barry was possible with moderate support, and it was partial. And the dart body, also from the box, said it could have been redacted, so one of the kids. The interior cushions of the helmet were 6.2 times more likely to be from Barry and Suzanne than from anyone else. Then I saw that in the affidavit itself, it states that Barry told them that the big elk that he supposedly followed, did not have its horns when he saw it, and that he just saw that it was big and he wanted to see where it goes because he believes they're creatures of habit, and he thinks that he might be able to find out where it drops its antlers, even though in court they kept going on and on about how it couldn't be true that he saw an elk because they didn't have antlers at that time. We can continue to discuss what all is going on in this. Thank you for watching Another Day in the Car with Jules.